Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a Western astrologer and Twin Flame channel, and this is a video about the new moon in Cancer, the first new moon in Cancer, happening on June 21st, 2020 at 2:41 a.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. If you're not, please use a time zone converter to find your local time. I say the first new moon in Cancer only because this is going to be one of two. The second new moon in Cancer will happen in July, and this is a very rare astrological event where we have two new moons in the exact same sign. Um, and what a relief and reprieve, because with so much tension in the sky and two new moons equaling two new beginning energies, we have the opportunity to adjust what we don't love about the energy cycle and flow within the first 30 days. We have the opportunity to adjust it and tweak it in the next new moon cycle. So, the gifting of this as well is that this is one of the last in the Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycle as well. We are coming up on the last two eclipses of the Capricorn Cancer cycle. And this cycle has been all about facilitating concrete change based on emotional integrity. I have a friend who talks about emotional integrity a lot, and it was a phrase I'd never heard until she said it, but it actually makes a lot of sense for the sign of Cancer. By emotional integrity, we mean that we act in a way that is congruent with our emotions, that we do not betray the way that we feel in order to make other people comfortable or in order to stay tethered to circumstances that are compromising us. We allow the truth of our emotions to be followed through in the truth of our behaviors and actions. And this entire eclipse cycle has been about exposing our feelings, the truth of what we want, where we're out of alignment, and then this particular year, adjusting the foundation, and last year too, adjusting the foundation so that we can get properly aligned for the next decade of our lives. So, this final new moon in Cancer, these final two new moons in Cancer, allow us that emotional new beginning that we want for this next chapter of our lives. It gives us that check, double check, that are you really sure, and that emotional clarity that we need in order to be able to take the next steps with true integrity. So, this new moon also, let's see, is going to be square the conjunction between the shaman's asteroid and Juno out here in the sign of partnership, balance, fairness, justice, and equality. And so it's no surprise that we are seeing lots of social justice activity around fairness, partnership, balance, and asking ourselves the question, how can we be more equitably united despite our differences? How can we work in partnership with one another? What do we need to recognize about ourselves and about others in order to be able to step into a new era that's aligned with our emotional integrity? And it's also conjunct Vesta here. Here's Vesta at 7 degrees Cancer. It's a loose conjunction. I know a lot of astrologers wouldn't acknowledge it as such, but I do, because I think Vesta is a very important energy and very influential in this moment, because Vesta is about commitment. She's about dedicated service. And she's also about keeping that keeping your internal fire burning bright, and staying dedicated to keeping it burning bright. She's kind of the energy of we will not go quietly. She's also the energy of I will do whatever it takes to live for what I believe in, not necessarily die for what I believe in. She's about what does it take? Who do I have to become? What do I have to do in order to live for the changes that I want to see in the world? And so she's a very important energy conjunct this emotional new beginning that we're all getting. In addition to that, there's a square to the shaman's asteroid. Oh, talked about that square to Mars. Here we go. So here's our friend Mars as well to this new moon. In astrology, we would call this energy a T square. And in a T square, there's a lot of tension and the sensation of feeling pulled in multiple different directions and not really knowing, okay, which order do I do things? What's the priority? And then feeling, quite, with this particular new moon, emotional about feeling the pull in different directions. Because this new moon is happening in the sign of family, and the pulling energies are happening in the very spiritual sign of Pisces, but close enough to be considered T squared to the individual sign of Aries. And in the sign of partnership, fairness, justice, and equality, what we're being asked to do is to take a look at our family, our soul tribe, our blood family, the people that we live with, the clan that we call our people. And we're asked to have a look at, okay, what do we need to do to bring more emotional integrity to situations that are causing us to feel pulled, causing us to feel misaligned, and causing us to feel like, maybe some of the ways that maybe what I truly value isn't yet fully represented in the structures of my life and how I'm operating. So, in a T square, the way that I have found we are invited to balance out that tense energy of being pulled in multiple directions is to pick up the energy that's conspicuous in its omission. And that's this energy right here in Capricorn. Capricorn's all about structure, work ethic, and doing the things we need to do in the material world to allow our emotions to have a safe place to be, but also doing the things we need to do in the material world to allow our 3D material world and the concrete structures of it be a true reflection of those values that we maintain so close to our heart in Cancer. So, this new beginning, it's wonderful that we get two of these new beginnings this year. And I mean, right on time, given everything that is happening in the world. We need it. We're going to need the time to make the adjustments. We've just stepped into this new moon, the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius, North Node Gemini. And the twinning energy of Gemini is allowing us to more concretely, with eyes wide open, see how other people are just like us. They deserve what we have. And it's also allowing us to see where we have fallen short in the ways that we are treating other people, where our blind spots are, and where we need to educate ourselves, learn more. Gemini is about education and learn more so that we have the opportunity to grow and we have the opportunity to change. But the Gemini energy, first and foremost, and we just got into the Gemini energy, we're at the 29th degree out of 30 degrees. We're at the 29th degree, we have to go all the way back to zero because the nodes move in reverse fashion, is the very beginning of the exposure of where we have more to go in terms of our learning. And so if you're feeling kind of a giant, learning curve at this moment in time around certain blind spots, know that you're not alone. We all are having that experience in the places where Gemini sits in our chart in one of the 12 houses. And collectively, you can also see we're also having this wake-up call moment around race and equality and justice and fairness and equity on planet Earth, as well as not just when it comes to policing and what we're seeing in terms of the protests, but also in terms of health as well. Health disparities are being widely exposed due to the global pandemic we're all experiencing. And this Gemini energy is helping us go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't know people were being treated like this. What do I need to do to take action to reform the structures so that the 3D world I'm living in is in alignment with my emotional integrity? What do I need to say? What do I need to do? Who do I need to become so that my material world is a precise reflection of what it is I truly value in my heart? So, thankfully, we get 2 new moons to set the wheels in motion on this, and to do this both at the macro and the micro, the collective and the individual levels. And hopefully, you're already in progress on these things. If you know you'd like to have a look at what this is about in your chart, because that Gemini energy can really sit, as well as this Cancerian energy, can sit in any one of the 12 houses. And this new beginning is asking you to create that emotional integrity in a very specific area of your life. And this is part of a setting of a tone for the next 2 years with the nodes in Gemini and Sag, but also for the next decade, the next 12, because we don't get another Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycle for another 12-ish years. Actually, no, it's longer than that, I think. So, if you want to take a peek, we can dive into your chart. Just email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com, to receive an autoresponder that gives you the information you need to book. And once you've received it, if you decide to book, I will then follow up with you, and send you a scheduling invitation so you get access to my calendar. Currently booking into the second and third week of July as of this precise moment. So the sooner you book, the better, especially if you've got a birthday coming up in July. Now is a great time to set this reading up. Moving on to some of the other aspects in the chart. There is a contextual conversation that we need to continually bring forward and anchor here. And it's this energy here in Capricorn. It's a very transformative energy happening in the last 5 degrees of this sign, man. So, heavy hitter Pluto, Lord of the underworld, Jupiter, Lord of expansion, hope, optimism, and faith, Pallas, protector, of the animals, the animal kingdom, and of humans, Chariclo, the divine intercessor, interceding on mortals' behalf with the gods, and then Saturn, the Lord of integrity, time, and order. These players have been marking 2020 as a year none of us will ever forget anytime soon. And together, collectively, they are bringing forward an energy of 3D world deconstruction and reconstruction. It is the energy that Pluto brings of death, the afterlife, and rebirth, sandwiched with Saturn. If it's not in integrity, it does need to end. When things are in integrity, Saturn allows things to deepen. It creates marriages in the 7th house when things are in integrity. But when things are out of alignment, Saturn creates divorces. It creates endings. And so this sandwich of these wonderfully benefic planets here in the middle, with specifically with Jupiter doing a dance with Pluto, we've got a conjunction coming up on June 30th, which we can all already feel. The first conjunction marked the beginning of the pandemic really catching like wildfire in the United States, but also kind of its global spread. We're now seeing a second wave of pandemic spread in the United States, but some other countries are also seeing second wave as well. But the Jupiter-Pluto energy is a real strip down of our ego forces, and it's a real stripping back of inappropriate faith, where we have believed and wanted and hoped and were optimistic about things being true and or real that just aren't serving us. So the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction here, it's interesting because, when we look at the macro, this energy has been about, okay, we think we're in a particular place around justice, fairness, and equity when it comes to race and racism. We thought we were in a particular place around the way we treated people who were different than us. But actually, what's being exposed right now is the truth of where we really are, so that we can readjust our sights. We talked about, many astrologers talked about 2020 being the year of 2020 vision, coming to see clearly. This is part of that, where we are now coming to see clearly and truthfully what's actually going on in the world of structure and form and in our governments and in our politics, because Capricorn represents institutions. So we're in the macro able to see accurately, oh, this is where I was being overly optimistic. I thought I was here, but now I actually see the truth. I'm over here. Got it. So it's ultimately a good thing. And there is an area of your life where this information, this energy is being brought forward, where you are the rose-colored glasses are, you're now being asked to take them off in favor of the truth, in favor of what's really happening and what's truly not working. Because the Saturn energy leading the bunch has been paving the way for alignment toward emotional integrity as it has transited Capricorn opposite this Cancerian energy for the last 2.5 years. Okay. So let's just see here. Let me clear all of that up. Move that around. Okay. So moving forward, the next pieces to share with you have to do, because this energy is transformative and it's in place. It's in place for this energy is transformative and it's in place for the entirety of 2020. So understand that every new moon, every full moon, every retrograde, every eclipse is pushing us into this massive structural realignment for a particular area of our life. This energy together has not been seen for hundreds of years. So those of us who have incarnated on planet Earth at this time are experiencing a true gift in the transformational capacity and the ways in which that we have a role to play in transforming where the earth is headed at this particular moment. It's no accident. If you're here during this is not just a willy-nilly any old time. This time was very, very specific in its reconstructive energy. So again, if you want to look at where this is happening in your chart and which of the 12 houses are impacted in your personal planets, then email me. We can set up that personal reading to get you squared away. The other energy happening here that's heating things up on planet Earth is there's a coming energy that is a bit like a storm, and it's already been building and brewing. So, I mean, I know you guys are like, storm, what more do we need? We've got all kinds of police brutality, we've got pandemic, we've got lockdown, we've got economic collapse of epic proportions globally. What do you mean, storm? I thought we were in it. Well, fasten your seatbelts and prepare to let go, my friends, because it's about to get more real. So this energy here, is moving toward and creating currently a square with an energy called Aries in the chart. And Aries here, saving grace right now is the sextile to Mars, but Mars is very quickly going to come and sit with Eris and give no breaks, take no prisoners, and offer no mercy. So the Eris energy, when you understand Eris's mythology, she's all about the righteous riot, the righteous rage. When Eris has not been offered a seat at the table, in mythology, we see Eris create discord, disharmony, strife, and the energy of it's a very combustible energy where it's lots of straight up just fighting. And so, what Eris's energy is for and what she's about is when she has been displaced, dishonored, ignored, set aside, and silenced for too long. The Eris energy comes forward and says, no mas, we're not doing this anymore. So the Eris energy square this reconstructive energy here in Capricorn has been revealing for us and creating tension for all of us in the places in our individual lives, because Aries, which is where Eris sits, is about the individual. It's exposing the places in our individual lives where the structure of our life is out of alignment and has been for some time. So there are some places where you may feel deeply affronted, wounded, frustrated, where you've been playing second fiddle, where you have been, just kind of sat to the side by society or sat to the side by partners, because we are facing the partnership sign here. There are some places where that may be the case, where there is this energy brewing of aggravation. And that aggravation energy is important to pay attention to, because what it's providing is clarity about where things have to change and where we individually need to take the power in our own hands. That's the sign of Aries, the individual, where we need to take the power in our own hands to be accountable for the restructuring of our lives, Capricorn. So the agitation energy, as I said right now, it's, I would say, probably at like a level 3, 4 compared to where it's going to get to by the end of the summer. The Mars energy, I know you guys are like, what? You mean it's going to get more intense? Yes, people, more intensity. The Mars energy is providing a sextile to this energy here in Capricorn. And the beautiful thing about that sextile is that Mars is sitting in the spiritual sign of Pisces. It's bringing a bit of motivation to our recognition. So we recognize what needs to change, and now we are motivated to change it. What happens, though, as Mars begins to take its place in Aries for a 4-month window, which will include a retrograde — Mars is not normally in a sign that long. We get Mars in a sign 3-4 weeks. We're getting Mars in Aries for 4 months, squaring off with this reconstructive energy. What will happen is, because when Mars arrives in Aries, it's going to be flanked by that tense Eris energy, that righteous riot. Lilith, who insists on doing things her own way. She'll have it her way or she'll take nothing. And Chiron, which is exposing all of our individual wounds around our ambition and our drives and our passions. Chiron has been unearthing those wounds for the last year. Mars is going to come sit with them. In its own right, Mars alone is simply drive, it's motivation. But when Mars has to sit with righteous riot and our wounds and a demand to have things done our own way, Whew. Now we have Mars getting pulled more towards Mars's shadow energy, which is aggression and war and rage. And this is a 4-month window where this Mars energy squares off this highly reconstructive energy here in Capricorn. So here's a little clue. The agitation energy that you're already feeling, it's already in the air. The frustration and the internal kind of rah! that you may be feeling brewing. I'm giving you the heads up now that it is going to ramp up. It's ramping up to force you into personal change and transformation in your life. The more you can channel this energy into changing things gradually now, getting things into emotional integrity one step at a time now, the more you can take action now, because all of this activity is going on in cardinal signs, which is about taking initiative, not sitting back and waiting, but taking initiative to make things change. The easier this period at the end of the year is going to be. The less frustrated you'll be by it, the more you'll be able to stand in leadership, the more you'll be able to care without carrying, the more you're going to be able to see what's going on without necessarily being sucked under by it, because there will be plenty of opportunities in this second half of the year to vent frustration on other people instead of being personally accountable for our lives. So just keep that in mind, because that energy is brewing, and I know a lot of you are already feeling it. It's just going to get stronger, and it's there for us to move our own lives in a direction that allows us to feel aligned. So take a step. There's been so many people, who, are watching what's going on in the outer world. Their inner world is fine, but they're going, I have no idea what to do in the outer world. Find a step. It doesn't have to be a perfect step, a flawless step. You will learn while you go, but take a step that allows you to be able to look in the mirror with self-respect, to lay your head down at night without regret, and to live the next days of your life with confidence that you've done all you could do and the rest is up to the divine. This is the transformative energy and cardinal signs. It's saying move now. Okay. So, other energies going on during this full moon is we've got this Venus trine Juno and Make, and that's a very lovely energy that's bringing forth, kind of a more collaborative, conversational energy around partnership and love. We have also got Saturn trine that Venus. So there's almost a grand trine here in air signs, and this energy is bringing forward a foundational energy that has the opportunity to last around more loving ways forward in our thinking and our communication in partnership with other people. So there's huge new beginnings here in that way. We've also got this Uranus sextile Ceres. So here's our Uranus, and then here's Ceres. The Ceres is conjunct Nessus, and the Nessus energy is about obsession. Ceres is about motherhood and mothering. And so there may be a sense internally, because Uranus is also in the nurturing sign of Taurus, of a recognition where if you're a mom, there's probably some nudges of things based on the way the first 6 months of the year have gone. You're now getting nudges about what needs to shift with your children, and you also have the motivation to be able to shift those things. The Uranian energy, again, is about that care and the self-care thing. So there may be some ways you're recognizing your kids need a little additional support with self-soothing during these trying times, or caring for themselves, things that were only going on at school. You've been homeschooling for the last however many months. You're now going, oh, this is where my kid is struggling. And so there's this kind of ante up and a battle cry, like a rallying for the Divine Mother to come forward at this time and assist children on the planet with their ability to have more of the care that they need. There's also, so if you're called to work in that direction, please do. We've got a Saturn sextiling Mars a little bit here, which is a nice energy because this is also an energy that allows the changes that we make to last, and to be the kind of changes that don't just exist in thought only, but also can exist in the world of action. So look for in the world legislative changes, policy changes, brought forward by the action of the people continuing to press on governments, but also continuing to press on individuals to understand the changes and to make the changes appropriate. It's a very exciting and transformational time. We've got Chiron conjunct Lilith here. And as I mentioned, these are kind of working all together to bring forward our woundings in places where we have felt shortchanged. And by golly, we're not having it anymore. That energy is in the air and it's just going to continue to ramp up. And then we've got a Mercury trine Neptune. So here's our Mercury, here's our Neptune, and they're sitting almost in a trine here, which means harmonious flow of energy. We had a Mercury conjunct Neptune when the pandemic first broke worldwide, and there was a Mercury retrograde at that time. Harmonious flow of energy between Mercury and Neptune causing ambiguous facts, and ambiguity around details, and unclear emotional communication. We've got more of that energy coming up during this Mercury retrograde that's already going down. So Mercury's retrograde here in Cancer, speaking harmoniously to Neptune. I really did not like this energy last time because it just caused so much emotional reactivity with so few facts. And we saw the birth of a lot of conspiracy theories during this time. With the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. This was back in March, and we had conspiracy theories with that Mercury-Neptune conjunction. Now we've got Mercury-Neptune trine, Mercury going retrograde again. Expect to see more of some of that, but because you've seen it before, you now know how to deal with it. This is not your first rodeo, light worker. Take the opportunity at this time to be the calm you need in the center of this storm and to connect in the way you need to with the divine, with your own communication. This is a great time for silence and reflection, and a wonderful time to mind the old adage, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Expect that there's going to be a lot of emotionality coming forward with this new moon, because there are some endings in the air at this time. Completions have been in the air all of 2020, but know that this particular eclipse window, where we've got about 3 or 4 eclipses in a very short period of time, this is going to bring about some endings, some completions, and a lot of emotionality around it. And just expect that your fellow humans are going through that. No matter what face they are putting on, this energy is impacting them too. And so you need to just be gentle with yourself. We all need to be gentle with ourselves, but also recognize that this volatility is also happening within our fellow human beings, and just be gentle with them too as well. Okay. Yep, that Neptune is conjunct Mars as well. And this is all sextile, that Jupiter-Pluto energy, which we talked about. The only other thing I want to bring up is that Chiron here loosely square this new moon. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could draw that better? Loosely square this new moon energy conjunct Vesta. And so again, this is that energy of feeling pulled in multiple different directions, but also that energy of kind of having a recognition of where we are yet to be healed. there's some things that will come up during this new moon that you thought you worked on, you thought you dealt with, you thought were over, you thought you got past. And there will be circumstances that this new moon will bring up that will remind you, yeah, we still have a little bit more to go. Um, so yeah, there's help available in your individual chart, not necessarily this particular chart, because this chart is full of a lot of tension. The most help coming is that Mars sextile, the transformational energy in Capricorn. But for healing, we really need to look in an individual's chart at their 6th house and their 12th house. And the signs that govern those houses, the planets that are in those houses, because they will help you understand the ways you personally built to heal in this lifetime. So if you'd like to have a look at that, you definitely want to email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. We can look at the ways you're built to heal, what you're being called to transform during this 2020 year of clear vision, and the emotional new beginning that you're going to get in Cancer 2 times over, so that you can work with this energy based on what your chart is showing you. Like I said, the second new moon in Cancer happens in July. I also happen to be booking in July. So if you'd like to go ahead and set up a reading, now is the time, and I look forward to reading for you. I also look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comments below. So thank you so much. And if you're interested in joining for the Christ Consciousness meditations, we're doing 6 days on this side of the solstice, 6 days on the other side of the solstice to carry us into the second part of the year. They're going on now. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You'll be able to see all of the notifications from the community section about the Christ Consciousness meditations that we're doing. And how you can join. You don't have to be a Christian or a follower of Christ. You just needed to be committed to the path of unconditional love. And you'll be able to grab the meditations. They are free, and they happen live on the channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I think we're on day 3 today as of right now, but for the 12 days anchoring this particular solstice. So I look forward to meditating with you and hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comments below. Take great care, and bye for now.